Hey guys, Bugcat7 here. Okay, it is Saturday, April 4th, 2020, and I'd like to thank you for visiting the Stonewall Research channel here on YouTube. I really do appreciate it. Alright, guys, well, I hope everybody's dealing with the current crisis well. I don't know if you are or not. I'm having a little bit of a hard time, but I hope to knock this video up here while I'm busy sort of on the move. That's the way it is for me, unfortunately, but I deal with it in my own way. But again, not to get too political on anybody, but there's something about this that doesn't smell right. And there's voices out there. I hope some of you guys are listening to some of those voices, but the fear mongering is just over the top at this point. And I don't know if you're sensing it, but I think somebody merely has to listen to the news for a short period of time and you could see the level of fear mongering that's going on. And it's, you know, in my opinion, when you have that sort of level of fear mongering, the whole notion that whatever we do is for your own good is often an evil premise to start with. Okay. So let's put that aside and talk about this great video here. Well, it may be a little depressing, but I wanted to talk about the destroyed libraries. We know about the Library of Alexandria, and there's any number of libraries. We know about the book burnings, et cetera, et cetera. So I thought I might read this article from Ancient Pages. But if you go to Wikipedia, it gives a list of destroyed libraries, and besides their nonsense causes and prevention and all that, who cares about that? But they go through all the human action burnings that occurred, and it's quite a long list of them here. So I'll put a link to this Wikipedia article here. You can see this quite lengthy list of ones that were intentionally destroyed, and then they have a few by natural disasters, and then I guess ones that are incidences of fire that they can say is just simply a fire. Nobody, did it intentionally, but I mean, it's not a, there's a little bit of a list here, but it's not that long. So between natural disasters and ordinary fires, doesn't even match the amount that were destroyed by human hands. So just something to think about while you think about all the good that the glorious leaders often do for everybody when they do these things, and all in the name of some sort of misguided justice or something like that. I'm telling you, people, the world is truly filled with people who are completely off their rocker, and many of them have leadership positions, you see. So, that's, other than your boss who's a little, Napoleon, megalomaniac, tyrant, because no human beings can handle power, folks. None of them can. There is no human being who can handle any sort of power. None. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. Zero. Okay, just keep that in mind. So let's take this article here in Ancient Pages, which is an awfully interesting website um, about ancient books, scrolls, manuscripts burned by church and evil emperors, although I think it's mostly focuses on the burning of the libraries. But it's an interesting article. Let's take a look at it. It's from 2018, and I guess it's a staff writer who actually put this out. from ancient pages. But let's take a look at this. It says A. Sutherland, so whoever that fellow was. I'll put a link to this. Go, please take a look at it. Ancient Pages is an interesting site. I'm sure you'll enjoy much of the material that's in there. Many of human history's missing pages were wiped out by calamities, and evil, influential individuals who called themselves God's consuls and never hid their despising of books and culture of the ancient world. It would be less difficult to reconstruct the unknown history of mankind if the Egyptians, Greeks, and Hebrews had not transmitted it in fables, and if the Catholics had not Christianized ancient rites and destroyed documents alien to their doctrines. Some quote by somebody. All of man's past was submerged by the enterprise, which was strangely glorified by the symbol of St. George and St. Michael slaying the pagan dragon, wrote R. Sherrill in his book, Masters of the World. Okay, well, St. Michael slaying the pagan dragon may be one aspect of it, but some of this has to do with Electric Universe Thunderbolts Project. You should look into that a little bit. And St. Michael is little guy, who I have on my right hand. St. Michael, the slayer of the dragon, is on my right hand, and on my left hand is Big Black, little guy's father. He's the angel of death. So, I have that sort of right-left thing going on, and both my guys there are egregores and survivors. That's why things don't happen to me, because I'm protected through my egregores. Will we ever reconstruct the unknown history of mankind? Well, at this rate, it'll take a long time, but, people wake up and regain their senses, then, maybe sooner. To gain access to secret knowledge of our ancestors, we have to search among the countless number of fables and myths transmitted to us by generations of the ancient Egyptians, Hebrews, and Greeks. Most of this knowledge, however, has already been destroyed a long time ago. We begin with Shi Huangti. This has nothing to do with Egyptians, Hebrews, and Greeks. Shi Huangti, who was the first emperor of the Qin dynasty and founder of the first Chinese empire that unified the entire country. Shi Huangti developed a strong central government and a powerful, merciless army. He maintained stability primarily through punishment, fear, and strict control over people's lives. Sounds awfully familiar, especially currently. Among one of his greatest enemies were philosophical and ethical teachings of Confucius, Master Kung, which actually his name was Kung Fu Tzu, 551 to 479 BC. He came in contact with these teachings, magic and alchemy, while searching for immortality through whatever means. He failed his search. Shi Huangti did not agree with the teachings of Confucius, especially the significance of education. He burned all the literary work of science and history, art and music. He buried all the Confucian scholars alive. Hey, what a guy. What a swell leader. And all the Chinese, he was the great leader of the past who buried people alive. Yeah, that's a swell guy to admire. You would. Idiots. Great number of ancient prophetic books were burnt in ancient times. Among them were also the Sibylline books, Libri Sibyllini in Latin, of the priest of god Apollo, one of the 12 gods that were especially honored by the ancient Romans. Probably written on palm leaves, the books remained in the custody of the state and under strict control. The public were not allowed to inspect them. They were often consulted by the Romans for more than 1,000 years and carefully stored in a stone chest underground at the base of the statue of Apollo in the temple of Jupiter Capitolinus. They were kept under the custody of 10 to 15 officers who guarded them day and night. Someone decided to destroy these priceless works and succeeded to do it. The Sibylline books perished in the burning of the temple, and it took place on July 6, 83 BC. Only fragments of them have survived. They were deliberately destroyed. Even their copies were destroyed by Stilicho, 359 and 408, a high ranking general and consul of the Western Roman Empire at some time just before his death in the year 408. The papyri of the Egyptian library of the Temple of Ptah in Memphis were totally destroyed, probably due to the destruction of the building. The same fate suffered 200,000 volumes composed largely of ink-written works in the library of Pergamus in ancient Asia Minor. The city of Carthage, razed by the Romans in a 17-day fire in 146 BC, is said to have quote, possessed a library of 500,000 volumes, unquote, that were reduced to ashes by the brutal Roman wave of destruction in the Middle East. R. Newbergen, Secrets of the Lost Races. And Robert A. Dudley, The Burning of the Library at Alexandria in 391 AD, lithographed 1910, from Hutchinson's History of the Nations, published United Kingdom 1910. Richmond Art Library. The burning of the Library of Alexandria is more or less surrounded by many myths. The library may have suffered several fires or acts of destruction of varying degrees over several years. Both ancient and modern sources suggest possible occasions for the partial or total destruction of the Library of Alexandria. One of those accused for the library's destruction was Julius Caesar during the Egyptian War. This claim was supported in the 4th century both by the pagan historian Ammianus Marcellinus and the Christian historian Orosius. However, some others claim that the flames destroyed only the fleet and some houses near the sea. Now, this is of interest to me because I do my video on the Syracusia, the ship that Archimedes built, the giant seagoing vessel who made one trip to Alexandria and then was renamed the Alexandria and I guess moored in the harbor there at Alexandria or at the dock at Alexandria, similar to our museum right here in Manhattan of the Intrepid Air and Space Museum, a giant aircraft carrier used as a museum. This is what happens to decommissioned ships. Okay, and it just so happened that it had a rather large library and a large reading room on board. You see, and this is the best explanation anybody has ever come up with from your pal right here, Budcat7, but I'm not going to get any credit for it. Just going to guess and guess and guess. And maybe it wasn't a building at all. Maybe it was this ship, okay? That's the best guess anybody's ever come up with, folks, and you see it right on my channel. The Syracusia, the floating library at Alexandria, burned in its birth. And nobody's come up with that explanation except me. The Alexandrian book depository survived the destruction and continuously flourished. In AD 642, Alexandria was captured by the Muslim army of Amr ibn al-As. According to several later Arabic sources, the library was destroyed by the order of Caliph Omar, who said that, quote, if those books are in agreement with the Quran, we have no need of them, and if these are opposed to the Quran, destroy them, unquote. Bar Hebraeus in the 13th century work. This is one version of the story, but there are many of them. Later scholars are skeptical of these stories given the range of time that had passed before they were written down and the political motivation of the various writers. Well, I have no political motivations, and I say it was the Syracusia. All the ships were burned at sea and some coastal houses. And where would the Alexandria be, folks? Get a clue. Book scrolls and manuscripts have long been the subject of permanent and almost obsessive hunt. The Inquisition of the Middle Ages reduced the number of manuscripts to non-existence, and Leo the Isaurian, 680 to 740, Byzantine emperor from 1717 until his death in 1741, was totally against any devotion to holy images. He forbade the veneration of icons and burned 300,000 manuscripts in Byzantium. Okay, so lots of burning going on in the past, folks. In his Books on Fire, a French writer and historian, Lucien X. Polastron, says that Gregory I, prefect of Rome, Pope in 5090 and future saint, exclamation point, ordered the remaining copies of Cicero, Titus Livy, and many other authors of the great era burned for the sole reason that the young people of the 6th century clearly preferred reading them over the Christian scriptures. The Roman Emperor Diocletian, AD 240 to AD 311, burned the libraries with their Egyptian and Greek documents in the year 296. Another Roman emperor, Augustus, 27 BCE to 14 CE, and later a high priest of ancient Roman religion, ordered 2,000 quote unquote, superstitious books to be burned. St. Paul of Ephesus, or Paul the Apostle, was a Hellenistic Jew who called himself the Apostle to the Gentiles, was one of the most notable of early Christian missionaries. This notable man did not like the so-called strange things. He burned all the books dealing with the subject. The list of all burned literary works and witch hunting activities in ancient times are long. We have just named a few of them. Okay, so that's the end of the article here, written by A. Sutherland in Ancient Pages. Again, I'll leave a link to the article and the Wikipedia article for you to enjoy. A list of destroyed libraries. But again, folks, and the reason why I'm so interested in this, besides the fact of the historical interest, was the library at Alexandria that they can't seem to locate, explain all these myths, etc., etc. Where here you have the best reasoning for it right here, folks, in my video on Syracusia. Okay, if you didn't know. So I'll put a link to that in there as well if I can. All right, so please do hit the like button if you like the video, guys. I'll try to bring videos to you as much as I can. There's a lot of things happening, bad things happening in my life, everybody's life. The world is changing, not for the better, I'm afraid. And hopefully we all come out of this in one piece. I hope so. I'm praying so. So keep yourselves well, guys. Please hit the like button if you like the video. And Bugcat7 is signing out. Peace, brothers and sisters. We again will get through this together. Bye now.